We're snorting cap rates and shooting up cash flow here at Deal Junkies.
Welcome back to Deal Junkies. I'm Dane McKinney. I am here with Mike Nuss and Trevor Howard for another episode on econ. No, we're going to talk about hiring and firing today. Mike,
there's good econ stuff to talk about. We could.
That's true.
What econ stuff is there to talk about?
Well, we just talked about how by the time you guys are done, ready to refinance out in personal owner-occupied loans on that house, it might be 5% with buy-downs and whatnot.
That'd be sick.
Yeah.
That's a lot less than I underwrote it out. So
yeah.
I have it at like 6.5, I think.
Yeah. I actually went back. And so, we had the Fed cut last year and then rates went up. And so we have this whole belief now that when the Fed cuts, rates go up. You know what happened when they cut the second time?
I'm guessing it went down.
Stayed the same?
No, it kind of stayed the same. It didn't trend down before the cut like it did prior, but it stayed the same and it stayed resilient until shortly after when the Trump trade really started going. It was after the second cut in November prior to that's when the Trump trade really started going. But, we had our cut, we had our bounce up, we had some strong jobs reports that put us up towards our new ceiling, but now, dude, we've been under 4%, hovering around 4%.
So Mike's prediction, in 2 months, your rates will be 5%
with
on your
buy
resi.
downs. So with buy downs. So like
What's
right now,
that without a buy down?
Right now it's like at a 6.1. Right now it's a 6.1 interest rate. I bet you by sometime in November you'll be able to get interest rates at or under 6. And then if you're buying down with like 3 points, you can get it down to 5. Right now the 10-year is at 3.99. Yeah, so we're hovering around 4%. But we haven't had a cut yet. So we're going to have, and we had CPI come out. That was a delayed report that came out weaker than expected, which then now they don't have a reason not to cut. So they will cut. And now the focus is on December, which now bets are being made 98% that they'll cut again in December. And so we have a different environment this time this year than we did last year. So it's interesting. I think we're going to have some good interest rates coming. So
that's exciting.
If it's not there, will you pay extra to buy down our rate? Or you want to make a bet?
No, I don't want it. Well, I'll make a bet, but I want to pay down the rate.
We'll give you what do you want? A new driver.
We got a quote, so we decided on the loan we're going to go with for the 46 unit, 70% LTV, 15-year term.
You couldn't get 75 on it?
We could, but this is a better loan.
15-year term, interesting.
Yeah.
Amortized?
5 years of IO.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, 5.5% interest.
What's the prepay though?
3-year prepay.
What? Where'd you get this?
I think this one has a 5-year prepay, 5-year step down.
Where'd you get this at?
The guy who did the loan, so we don't have an LOI on it yet. And Caleb's got the quote. I haven't seen who the lender is yet, but
will you tell us so then we can go
absolutely.
get that loan? Because that's awesome.
Yeah, it's a local lender or a localized lender. He just did the deal with him in 48 days.
Wow.
That's really good debt.
Yeah. So we're really excited now.
That's pretty cool.
Yep.
Yeah,
is it amortized over 30 once you go to AM schedule?
IO, correct. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. We want to sell it in 5 years. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's awesome. Because a lot of what when I was buying deals in like low rate environments, the prepays were like 2-1 step down, 3-2-1 step downs. Now everyone's trying to hit you with like
long prepays.
Prepays.
And that's what we were kind of running up to at first, because if we wanted to get out in 3 to 5 years, the prepaid then becomes problematic, or at least it becomes a cost. So now we don't have to factor in that cost.
Are they funding your construction on it too?
No, we have to come. So now our liquidity, we need to raise almost 2.4 million, 2.3. Yeah.
The most recent loan we got, they sent us a 5-4-3-2-1. Then we were like, can we do a 3-2-1?
Yeah.
And then she was like, oh, I mean, the other option is a 3-3-2-2-1.
The other thing,
and I was like, the other option is
Why
a
didn't you say an
3-3-2-2-1? Why would I want? In what world would I want the 5-4?
I'm always going for the better option.
And then they just changed it. There was no but it's like, what are we talking about? Why would I? Whose team are you on here?
The other thing is, this is truly more asset. They don't look at tax returns or any of that. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
That makes it way easier.
So it's all liquidity, real estate schedule experience.
Oh, dude, awesome. Because we've been freaking slamming our heads on the walls with these loans. Because these banks and credit unions...
They probably don't land on the coast. They're probably only in the MSAs.
No, this is like, in MSA areas.
For the deal that you're looking at, they'll land on that, absolutely.
Yeah.
I'll hook you up. Absolutely.
Dang, we needed this 48 days ago.
49.
So we wanted to kind of do an update episode for everyone, right? Like what's happening in businesses. You guys you're hiring. We've talked about that. You're scaling. So a good time to talk about how do you grow and scale.
I want to learn how to find employees too from you, because we've been doing well with hiring, but it's all been in network so far.
Yeah.
And now we're hiring the financial controller role.
Which I think will also end up being a network.
Like, it makes it so much easier because you have some grasp and you can get to know this person easier rather than the random person applying who most people are just applying because it's just a job.
Yep.
Versus everyone we've hired so far has seen the vision, so they're passionate about it.
Yeah. Well,
I bet I've had 100 like hiring managers reach out to me.
Oh, headhunters.
Yeah, and be like, we have somebody that's perfect for your position.
Don't do headhunters.
I haven't responded to any of them. It's a like,
especially when you have a good.
I don't know
especially
you.
Like when you have a podcast.
I don't know. Yeah,
we've used a headhunter. It never worked out good. Yeah. And the headhunters hide shit. The person that we hired actually had an SA pass, sexual harassment pass.
Whoa!
They didn't say anything about it, and that's why
SA is worse than SH.
It was SH, and we experienced SH, and it immediately messed up our culture. And like within 3 months, they were gone.
Because its qualification is one part for the job, but culture is like
so.
The
Going back
biggest
to
thing.
let's quickly step back to scaling in general, then we can go into hiring. So on scaling, a lot of people think, oh, it's great, just go buy more property. No, because it's the bandwidth, right? Why do I keep going to bandwidth? Is because I understand every property that you add, you need to have people in order to do that. And if your goal is to not have a job, you need to understand how to hire. And so hiring and firing is the most important part. And so like when you said, I spent $100,000 in traction in EOS. So that's specifically a traction coach. My traction coach came from Techron next to Intel. Mm-hmm. And he was there for over a decade, had hired and fired over 1,000 people. And so the reason we went with him specifically was, okay, we're going to change our branding. We're changing our culture. We need someone with expertise in hiring and firing. And so our focus was legitimately that. It was the org chart. And we had, 5 companies. It's a really complicated org chart. How do we simplify this into an org? Instead of 5 companies, how do we create one org structure out of these 5 companies in a way that then can flow?
Yeah.
And so hiring, you really need to have 40 applications is too many. You need to have your core values. The way we were taught is you have your core values in your message, and in the ad, like we have a PowerPoint, and at the very end of the PowerPoint, you have to respond to a separate email. So we don't review applications that just get sent to us on
there's
Indeed.
an extra barrier to screen.
Exactly. So an extra barrier to screening, and more specifically, our PowerPoint is about our core values. These are what our core values are. These are how the core values show up. And so when people do that extra step, they want to work for your company. And so now you're reviewing a pool of people that just want to be in your culture. So now you have the ability to train people. You can get them from a different arena. Like Sarah. Sarah's an amazing employee for us. She was at New Seasons. Never had any property management experience. She owned a couple rentals, so she understood real estate, but it was her people skills at the management level was the reason we hired her, and then we trained her to be a really good property manager. And so you guys are talking about like a controller. You're hiring a controller.
Yeah, my first thought was I think we need a CFO, and then I started like breaking down more, like going through the steps of what we were doing, and I was like, okay, I don't think we need a CFO right now for the position we're at. I think what we need is a financial controller. But like, I've never been this job really. I don't know this job. So then I'm like kind of learning. Everyone we've hired has kind of been a go-getter and built their own role too. So I'm like, this is my vision. I don't know exactly what you're going to do for this. These are the skills I think you need. And then they run with it.
And that's part of being a good leader is you got to hire someone with good skills that then you can impress upon, right? So then you influence them to start taking action in the right way. And I like that you're hiring a controller because that's the key component to scaling, especially in real estate when you're taking on significant amount of debt.
Yeah.
Because you've got construction draws, right? You're getting ahead of the construction. You got to draw that construction. You have all the payroll that you're paying while you're doing that. You have all your other marketing that you're spending. You have all the other due diligence that you're spending. You have all the other earnest money that you're spending. your refinances that are happening, right? So you have all the capital coming in, you have more capital going. A lot of times you have 3 to 4 times the amount of capital going out. And because those in capital events, they come like quarterly. Mm-hmm. And so you have to manage 3 to 4 months of expense, but you also have to manage your liquidity so you can get the loans on the back end. So you're having to keep your bank account high, but you're having to keep your projects going. So it's a dance, and you need to have someone focused purely on your financials. And so when I bought my business partner out, that was the biggest change for us, which is, okay, I'm no longer in acquisitions. I'm not in project management. You guys are handling all that. Mm-hmm. You're going to make a bunch of bad decisions, but we're going to live through that because I need to focus on our liquidity and how are we going to keep this functioning while we get down this road. Mm-hmm. So a comp controller, a financial controller, CFO, whatever you want to call them, is an essential component to allow you guys to do what you need to do really, really well.
Mm-hmm. And then I thought too, like, because they'll be doing all the investor distributions, the email
Waterfalls,
updates and all this stuff
investor
too,
relations,
to everyone.
Yeah. So you'll have your your controller do investor relations as well?
Not necessarily investor relations, but distributing the funds and sending out the updates and stuff like that, I think, which is like what Dane does right now. But as we get more
back
projects...
side, not the front side.
Yeah. He won't have enough time to do that as soon. Like right now he does, but very soon he will not. And I want to get that person prior to it becoming a problem.
Yep. That's exactly what I'm trying to get. My structure set up, like now I'm creating a spreadsheet of what is my system for the CFO role, because that needs to be hired for us next year. Yeah. We're going to be out of our bandwidth next year.
And we have a couple good candidates, but they would be remote. And our fear is like you don't get the culture piece when you have the remote person. And we do at our company, like people have, so if you want to work here, it's like unlimited paid time off, like very flexible work schedule. It's some days in office, some days out. Yep. Like, because we want them to be able to live the lives we do. Like we're going to Arizona next week. Yep. But we're going to work still, but we're going to still get to travel and do these cool things, and it's not going to really delay it. Maybe we won't work as much, but we're still going to be doing stuff.
Yeah, and that's where you just have to have the right KPIs in place. Mm-hmm. Like that role can easily be a remote role. Can very easily be a remote role.
But we think for a team fit, it's just so much better to have them part of the time come in.
I agree with that. Again, that's where if you hire the right people with your culture, I'm not present in our office hardly at all. When I check in with Eric and Daniel, it's like, okay, how's the culture doing? That's one of my first questions is how, and you don't have to worry about culture because our most important employees are so strong in the culture that it's fine. I don't have to be there to lead it. Mm-hmm. So I think you guys can probably feel good that you already have a good, strong culture. And you guys have a lot of charismatic people as well, which is going to drive all that. What you need to look for is if they are a bad apple, fire them immediately. Just get the bad apples out of the way. Yeah. I learned that lesson on our first property manager. I just didn't fire her. I started just picking up the slack. And then what I became was that micromanager that I hate. Mm-hmm. And so that became a terrible relationship for both of us because I didn't have the cojones to fire her. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But once you fire like 2 or 3 employees, then you realize that cutting them off quickly is better for them and for you. They can reset. They can get on a better path. They can get somewhere where they want to be. And you now show your team, more importantly, that this is what matters to us. Yeah, you got to perform your role well, but you have to perform your role well inside of the culture and
it's an organization
platform.
You have to all be able to be organized together.
And that's where I really started to grow was when I got out of self-development and I got into organizational books and started really focusing on the organization. That's where leadership skills started to come from. That's where self-confidence started to come from. That's where emotional intelligence started to come from. Like you got to get away from the spreadsheets and now into the emotional component of it, emotional intelligence component of it. Because now you are a leader. You have people that are literally relying on you to make sure payrolls are every single day. Yeah. And when you start doing 401k and health insurance and all those other benefits.
Dude, so to talk about that stuff too, this is really cool. I don't know if we've told you about it, but we're not making an ESOP, but we're making an employee ownership program.
Sweet.
Where like essentially, and I've been meeting with the attorneys on it, going back and forth building this plan. I'm planning to launch it January 1st of 2026. But it's so like they're actual owners within the projects that we do. So everyone, like it benefits them and it's cool for us and everyone involved. But like it's essentially, I believe what will be is an entity that we will allocate a percentage of our ownership to, and then each employee will have a certain amount of shares within that.
And you'll hoard most of the shares so you can keep releasing more shares. Is that how
you can split it. So that's what I gotta. I gotta figure out the math still on it. But
I'd love to see how you structure that, because I want to do that, and I get my CPA, my attorney, and my payroll people always fight with each other on what that needs to look like. And so that's why I resulted to just specific entities of giving them ownership.
Yeah.
But I prefer a parent entity.
Yeah.
And have that parent entity own a piece of everything.
Yeah. So I want it to like kind of vest over time, and then if people stay over a certain time, it exists forever, and working through all that. But I was trying to figure out the math of how much they own to make it a significant amount for them. And then I was looking at like, okay, if we allocate 10% to our people, this is how many we have now. It should work itself out, because as we do bigger deals or more deals, we're going to hire more people, but there will be more money there to share. So that should solve that problem of the math there. But I want it to be a significant portion so they truly build all of their wealth through this.
Yeah, and that's a better way to do it. So like when I put them in a deal, they now have K1s, right? Like how fast do those K1s come out for their tax returns? What if there's a capital call event, right? Like they actually take on a level of risk that you can avoid that level of risk by being the entity with them.
Yeah. And I looked at like the pace we're doing right now and the deals we're doing, assuming we just did that, like the level we're at now with the people we have now, I was like, oh, with this current math, I'm thinking these people will be very, very wealthy.
Yeah, and you guys won't need a whole lot of people to do what you're going to do. You probably max out at like 8. Probably like maybe employees. Not even that many. Yeah,
because I think we'll be like Stack itself.
Yes,
will be anywhere from 10 to 15.
I don't know that you need that. Maybe with like offshore employees.
I've been looking at like a lot of the other organizations and who does what of people who are 5 years, 10 years ahead of us. And there's some that still run at like 5 to 8, 4 to 8. But the ones that run at like 4 to 8 are really only doing like 2 or 3 deals a year. And so their bandwidth isn't stretched as thin because of that. But the people who are trying to do like a deal a month or more than that, those companies end up at like 15 to 20. Because you have to have like the
2 or 3 acquisition guys.
You have to have like
a controller. So there's 4. You have to have an asset manager.
Multiple asset managers,
yeah.
Probably. Yeah. You guys are probably... Do you ever see yourself going to third-party management, or do you just expect SMI to scale as you scale?
That's a different conversation.
Yeah.
No, I mean, we've talked about it. It's a bunch of different thoughts on the best way to do that moving forward. We've kind of gone back and forth between all 4 of us saying what the best way to do it is. I think it's a blend. And what ends up happening in my mind is that you create a very specific scope for all of your asset managers. And then any property manager that you're working with, you just have much more clear expectations than we currently have. And so when we were just kind of like gunslinging and buying our own properties, and the whole goal was just figure out how to acquire, and then manage as well as you can with the time that you have, which really wasn't a ton. You didn't have a specific list of like
order of operations on the
even
business
like
plan.
KPIs though for the property manager, or just like set goals of like, hey, this is what we want out of the property. You need to know our business plan. Because you're a part of our business plan whether you like it or not. Right.
Well, you need to have your asset manager needs to be reviewing all of your monthly reports.
Yeah.
The operating side.
Yeah.
What you really, because you need to compartmentalize staff to their roles, but you also need to have how do they work in between the roles, the pass-offs. And that's what we're trying to, right? So you need to have acquisitions, you need to have project management, you need to have property management, you need to have asset management. But acquisitions has to have a clean pass-off to project management. Project management has to have a clean pass-off to property management. And then your asset manager has to know how kind of all that stuff's working. Your controller needs to know how all of that stuff's working.
Yeah.
Because they're managing all your expenses, but then they're the front side on the acquisition side too. So I can see you getting 10 to 15 because you have support roles underneath the people who are leading those roles.
It'll, I mean, 10 to 15 in office.
How do you guys handle your org chart? Like, how often do you look at it, and are you
every quarter?
Yeah, I mean, it comes up more frequently than that, but like we're doing a whole review and kind of overhaul sometimes Every quarter, at least, of it, just to make sure that it fits within our vision of the 3-year plan more than anything.
Well, and now it's more as we've gotten more people, because we have 7 people in our company now or so, plus third-party people.
Who's your 7? So you,
me, Gabe, Dane, Mark.
There's your 4.
Then we got marketing,
5.
Avery, Devin, asset management, and then Ryan, acquisitions.
I haven't met Ryan yet.
Yeah, you have. He's right over there. He comes in all the time.
The tall, no.
Yeah.
Yes,
the tall
very
guy.
tall guy.
No,
Yes.
Ryan's the tall,
guy.
older guy.
Yeah.
Devin's the tall, younger guy.
Yeah. Okay.
Ryan's not older, but he's older than Devin.
Yeah, I think you guys have a good team right now. Getting a controller would be great.
Yeah. So I think getting them, and I'm just kind of learning. So if you are looking to be a controller and you would like to work with us, go at stackassetgroup.com, job opportunities tab, and you'll see it all there. But like, we want to bring this person in-house because they can do all these different things, and we already pay third party for a lot of this stuff that we can just bring in-house. So it's not an additional cost, but like the third party gives us 10 hours a week maybe.
Yep.
And then we can get, the 40 for the same cost.
Yeah, they can keep, like right now, because I do the exact same thing where I outsource all of this to my CPA, and so then my tax return costs, you get 2 things. 1, your tax return costs are low. 2, you get consulting out of it. But your books are 30 days behind all the time, right? And so if you have and we had an in-staff controller once, and it was great. It was amazing because every single bank account was reconciled every single day. So we had really good insight. But that was also at a time where we were really small. So you want to get to that point where you're 30 days ahead of your CPA or your actual person that's collecting your data. And so when you bring that in-house, now they're just looking at your actual reports and then consulting on your report. So it's significantly better information for you.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's going to help a lot. I mean, there's so many aspects of the business currently that would fall under their responsibility that all of us are kind of just like randomly taking. That if
think
one
of it this
person,
way, with 7 people, how many people are spending money?
all of us. Yeah.
Yeah. So we've got Daniel spending money, Sarah spending money, Jason spending money, Eric spending money, right? And I'm spending money. So we have 5 people spending all of the time.
Yeah.
And so who tracks all that?
Me, sort of, with our bookkeeper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so you can...
And I have to like go back in and reconcile stuff with her and be like, hey, that's not what that was for. Like, she also...
Well, even in that, so there's just that. There's just getting good books. But part of it is, well, how much of that is excess spending? How much of that doesn't need to be spent?
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
How much of that can be consolidated to get better volume discounts?
Yeah.
And that's where because a good person with numbers, they see things that you just don't see. And that's what you're really trying to get.
Yeah, I don't think we're off track. I think we can be in the future, though. I mean,
You're
that's
just
the
way
biggest
more
thing.
efficient.
As the payroll increases is the biggest thing, and making sure that we're scaling income at the same rate that we're at a greater rate than what we're scaling the payroll.
You're gonna have $1 million nut very soon.
Pretty soon. Yeah. Very soon. This year, actually. Yeah. In 26, we'll have $1 million nut. And so I don't have the time to track it. And it just it gradually increases. And as it incrementally increases, you can't really you don't feel that it's too much information. And then I'm looking at 5 different bank accounts, and I'm having to track where all of those funds are and where they're going to be in 10 days and what's going to go out and why, and then what's going to come in and why. It's
And how many projects do you have right now? Active projects?
I mean, active, we don't really have to track that because that's all tracked through Skyline. And so those are all budgeted dollars. But as far as...
Yeah, correct. Those are all budgeted dollars.
But not from our accounts. That's all budgeted through Skyline and the loans. And so there's nothing getting pulled from our accounts, really. The issue is the project's under contract. And so you're getting... and your payroll and then just random overhead from stuff where it's oh yeah, that costs money. You have all these services that you pay for that just come back all the time, and software that you pay for, and just different systems that we're probably $40,000 in just random software that programs that we have, CRMs and whatnot. And you're not thinking about that actively as part of your budget, but then so we all did build out budgets for each of our departments. and that helped a lot, frankly, to have an idea of what we need to be bringing in on a yearly basis and projecting out based on who we were going to hire over the next year. And so we'll be at probably 12 employees by this time next year, which is pretty close to like what.
That's a lot of people.
Mm-hmm. Did you? Well, yeah. I mean,
I can't even manage Dane right now, dude.
Yeah, so you're gonna.
I can't even manage Trevor right now.
By the time you get to 12, you're gonna have to have a couple fires before that point. Like you haven't fired anyone yet, right?
Sort of. I mean, not truly. Not somebody who's like just purely W-2, but we've had to. Yeah. Not
Lots
somebody who we hired as.
Which
we've
led
hired
us to
lots
the
of
W-2 people. We had 1099 people. And then they just take our money we found.
Yeah.
1099.
And don't do the work.
Contractors are a lot of the like just independent stuff for weird, like odd
especially
jobs.
Marketing. Like, dude, we spent so much money on marketing. Like, and they would just like, it'd be a simple thing I know how to do. And they'd be like, yeah, I'll have it done in 30 days. And then it'd be like 60 days later.
That honestly is the biggest, that's where my old partner and I fractured is I wanted an in-house marketing person and he wanted an in-house branding person. I'm like,
can't that be the same person?
Yeah, the person that we had didn't have the marketing chops. They're great at the branding and the system stuff, but they didn't ship marketing out the door. And it doesn't matter how much you do on the branding side and the system side. If you don't have someone shipping out the door, marketing, and someone receiving the inbound, whatever your marketing's supposed to bring to an inbound scenario, then why are you doing everything?
We just invested in teaching it. So like I was doing it all and then I did it and I was like, these are the books to read to teach us how to do it and the things to do, and we just invested in it.
Yep.
We gunsling.
Yeah, but you can have an in-house. I think an in-house marketing thing is an essential component to what you're trying to create.
Dude, other note on, you might be able to answer this, but with the employee plan that we're building where they take ownership, the attorneys want to do just a profit share, but I want them to actually take title because I believe majority of the employees at our company will be considered real estate professionals. So they'll get to benefit from depreciation. Yeah.
Will they though? I mean, they're W-2s. Are they going to have more income coming from real estate than their W-2s?
They'll get the cash flows and things, yeah. But because I think you can be W-2 and a real estate professional also.
I mean, that's a good conversation.
Because their whole day is spent around actively acquiring and managing real estate.
But it's not their real estate. Well, if they own it, yeah.
Huh? That's why.
Yeah. So then it's like
if they're on title, then they become a real estate professional by being on title.
No. But and all their daily activities are spent. So like, think about marketing. Even.
Yeah, but if they weren't on title, then it wouldn't count though.
I mean, this is a good discussion with an attorney and a CPA because their day-to-day activities are really employee W-2 activities.
Yeah, but I think you can be a W-2 and a real estate professional still, depending on.
Yeah, I don't know.
But
I've never been in that.
No, because it's like. Yeah, because even like if you think about someone like a typical marketing job, but like the marketing we do is putting marketing packages together to acquire properties for sellers and to acquire investors. So it's all spent around acquiring and managing
you have
properties.
An argument for it, absolutely.
Yeah, so I was like, that'd be really cool if you go work at a company, you get your salary.
Hey, guess what? You get to work here, and by working here, we structure it so you don't pay taxes.
Yeah. That's cool. And I was like, that'd be really awesome if it works out that way.
On the note, back to what you were saying about having to fire people before or in the next year or so, I want to hear your thoughts on that, and I think I want to push back, but I want to hear why you think that first.
We should fire Gabe because he's missed the last 2 podcasts.
Well, you're beyond your core team, right? Like you're not going to fire your core team unless your core team does something against your core values.
Egregious.
But the reason they're your core team is because you all share the same core values. Now you're starting to hire more ancillary roles where they're further connected. They're less connected to you.
Yeah.
There's more layers.
Yeah.
And so those people are always you're going to have a higher turnover rate.
Yeah.
The further you get away from your core team.
Yeah. No, I think that, and that's why that was where my pushback was going to come, is I think that we spent so much time outlining like exactly what our goals were and what our core values are that ideally, as long as we stay small, and assuming, I mean, obviously there's going to be life events that happen for people over the next like decade, but as far as like the next year goes, where you have like a good foreseeable, you know, this is what's going to happen. And again, something might happen, but I don't know that we have to fire anybody, just in the sense that like, I think we have such a clear vision that when we're hiring people, it's like, hey, this is exactly what we want you to do. This is the vision for the whole company. Like the employee ownership program helps a ton, where it's like, hey, we're individuals who want to buy real estate. We started this together. We want to hire you on with the same vision, and you get to see the upside on it. Like, I think it's a good...
Yeah, you're talking about a success rate. You have a really good package to offer to keep your success rate high. Being very clear in your vision is a huge component in having a high success rate. But remember, if you're screening 40 applicants, if you don't narrow down your application and your magnet is so high, you're just going to attract people that aren't going to perform the way you want them.
Yeah, you're saying hire slow, fire fast.
Yeah. So if you're very clear and you're very diligent and you don't just say, fuck, we need someone, we're going to hire someone, then your success rate will be much higher.
Yeah.
And that's typically where you get is you've just tried forever and ever and ever, and you're like, all right, we're just going to hire this person.
Well, yeah, I'm trying to, like, now it's like I'm trying to hire 4 months out from when it's needed.
That was going to be the next thing I talked about also don't be afraid to hire good talent before you think you can afford or are ready for that good talent.
So I think of it like our deal flow funnel, a talent acquisition funnel, where I'm like, these are our future roles. We will always be screening for them, like before we even need it, because that person might not be ready to come at that time too. But now we're building the pipeline of people who fit that.
And the other thing is, when you're hiring talent, it doesn't always show up immediately. Like all the best employees that I've hired, we hired Eric as a part-time property manager when we were hiring for a property manager. When we hired the full-time property manager from the headhunter, we hired Eric at the same time because he was talent and we didn't have a role for him and we knew that we could fit him in somewhere. He went into like 6 or 7 different directions before I narrowed him down to where he's at now. Daniel, we were not hiring for an acquisitions manager. He was looking. I went on a backpacking trip with him. He reached out and was like, hey, I'm looking for something. Your core values, everything you have is like, it checks every box. He's been with us for 6 years. My latest project manager is probably a better example of assimilating, whereas he reached out to me. I knew he needed a project manager. I had no idea how we're going to afford it. Like, we have so many projects going on. Like, this is the worst time. But talent, and I knew that he could help. Immediately, you don't see the help because why? He's coming into 7 projects he's coming into the middle of. He didn't organize them. He's got to learn all these other 7 projects. But now we're at a point where we bought 4 other new projects since then. Those 4 are flying. We've had so many different entitlement and all these other projects, and he's doing a good job of so many balls that he didn't put in the air, but he's got to come in and try and juggle them. And so at the beginning, it's another personality that may not be a really good culture fit. And so there's friction in that arena. And then even when you shift people inside, so like when I bought Tyler out and then I shifted Eric, that created friction between Eric and Daniel. And we had a hard conversation one day, where I had to raise my voice on the phone. I'm like, look, and I even had to do this with Eric and Jason yesterday. It's like, look, you all have these little tiny issues. Let's take some extreme ownership. Let's call out everyone's little issue. Like, Jason, very valid point. Eric, I understand this. Very valid point. Just get beyond it, right? Like we're focusing on something that doesn't matter, and we need to understand how this one issue affects Jason and the context of why he's thinking this way, and how does it affect Eric and the way. And so Eric's got baggage from other contractors, whereas Jason's like, no, this is my contractor. And so Eric, don't let this one red flag paint an entire picture when Jason sees this red flag but knows it's not a red flag because of his experience. And so now you're adding another personality. And this is a handoff personality from a role standpoint, right? Like, this person has to work with acquisitions. They have to work with dispositions. So what are our processes then to ensure that their handoff is, and so that's a process to create. And so the first phase is getting in, trying to assimilate, try not to drop any balls, try to move stuff forward. Phase 2 is, okay, now you have new projects from the beginning. get those projects going. You start having success. We just did a final walk on one that created some issues. Great. Now we get to go meet on site. So we have a meeting next week. Daniel doesn't need to be there, but he's going to be there on the acquisition side. Eric and Jason will be there. Now we get to debrief the entire process of the first acquisition with this entire team. Okay, what went wrong? Where did we fuck up on the budget? Where did we do good? Where was the good handoff? Where did we miss something? Yeah. And then that allows you then to improve the process going forward.
That's what we've gotten better at, is now having more people, more defined roles.
Yeah.
Of like, these are who's in charge of what. And then I've just been trying to place people in those things, because Dane did everything to start.
Yep.
And then it's just trying to figure out how you outsource and get the more people to do it. Now at the point we're at, I was doing acquisitions, and then we got Ryan to take over for acquisitions. And then I'm supposed to manage the departments. What do you think the best role for Gabe is, though?
Kissing babies and shaking hands. Like, so going back to when you have an in-house marketing, you need to have the face and the charisma to take that inbound stuff. And so like us, we had it on the acquisition side and the property management side, but we didn't have it on the brokerage side. So we spent all this money, but we didn't have a clear offering. We didn't have a clear salesperson. We didn't have a lot of clear things, right? Gabe can be that for everything that you guys do, whether it's raising money, whether it's sellers, whether it's buyers. Like, he has the ability to communicate. So you want him to delegate. Get out of your fucking email. I know he loves email, but he should be in meetings and on phone calls all day long. Like, his calendar should be blocked out.
Because I thought he's like a visionary integrator mix, kind of like.
No, you're the visionary. So you're the visionary of this company.
You're the integrator.
Yeah, he's the charismatic magnet. He is not the one making the decisions of this is where the company is going. Gabe's along for the ride. That's how I see it. He is the foundation of your company, and he is also the guy having the most fun in the company because he's built the foundation of the company. Mm-hmm. And so you guys have to be the vision of it and the engine of it, and then he gets to be the person on the front that's like the net catching everything.
Yeah, I saw him as like a mix of CEO and CEO depending on the roles. So like, he takes the vision and shares that message with everyone possible, even though he's not creating it necessarily. Like, the whole team is creating it.
He has to be on board with the vision.
He has to be on board, and he is. And the team, like, of us four create it. And then he's the one who's like speaking it into existence internally and externally once it's decided. Mm-hmm. And then like having the team culture fit, because he talks about how he brings the mojo, but he does. So like, having him in there and like motivating people is a big thing. Mm-hmm. And then I think it's like closing big deals and building those key relationships too. But it's like a mix of this visionary integrator thing of like, he's not necessarily managing the departments, but he's like leading them in a way, just because people like to follow what he does.
Yeah, but he's at a point now where he doesn't need to look at any reports. Right, he doesn't need to walk projects. He's doing that for fun, so he's in touch with them. But he doesn't need to like, go over with his asset manager. Here's our, he just literally needs to be having the inspiring conversation. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
No, he needs to be talking to the most valuable people. Mm-hmm. That's the biggest thing. Whether it's property owners or high net worth individuals, his whole job is to build those relationships. That's my take.
Think of it this way, right? Like, on the acquisition side, so you're tactically leading your acquisition team, right? So you're like, these are SOPs. We're having our weekly meetings. I'm, helping you analyze deals. Gabe gets to come in and say, isn't this fun? Isn't this great? Well, why don't you try this? Why don't you try that? He has nothing to do with the KPIs. He doesn't care about your marketing. He's coming in to speak life into a soul that is the communication aspect of your company.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like, he's the energy piece. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like chief energy officer.
And I'm hoping he comes back from Tokyo revitalized,
absolutely,
and inspired.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's one of the best things that like Gabe does, is he always has something like that on his calendar.
Yeah.
Now
he
didn't used to.
He didn't, because he didn't have as much leverage in his life.
No, he didn't. I mean, he wasn't doing like cool vacation stuff until he was like 45, probably 42.
Yeah, because he's working so hard.
Yeah.
But he also, like, in his partnerships, he was you guys, right? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So he never had.
He was the acquisitions and running all that stuff,
and the controller and all of that stuff. Yeah. And so now he has a level of freedom that he never
he's earned.
Yeah. That he's earned. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hard earned privilege.
Yeah. No, I think that, and I've been thinking about that more too from myself, because we spend so much time right now, like, I know the 10 emails that I have to respond to right when I get off the podcast. I know the 10 emails that I have to send right when I get off this podcast. Like, where they need to go, why they need to go there. And 8 of those emails don't need to be me. And that's our biggest issue right now is like when I wake up, I know that half of my day is just communicating about things that I'm not the ultimate communicator of, right? And like most of the stuff is just knowledge that was gained over the last 5 years that in individual departments can be learned very quickly, especially if it's taught by somebody who has the tacit knowledge already. Because that's the hard is you don't know what you need to know until you're in that position. And it's like, I have no idea how we're going to do that. I guess we figure it out. Mm-hmm. But then once it's already like outlined, it's like, I don't need to be the one communicating with attorneys necessarily. I need to review that on Friday, probably, like when we have a meeting with each other and you need to tell me the high level of all of it. And Trevor needs to be looking over the PSA for 5 seconds, maybe. Mm-hmm. Like he needs to review the underwriting. And like there's so many things that if that time came back, it's like, okay, what would I spend my time doing? And I think that my role is just like a baby version of Gabe's where I'm just building network with people who want to invest in real estate, like people who are already successful but who want to invest in real estate. Like that's my whole, and we've talked about this as far as like phones goes, and like being on the phone is like great. I mean, I'm on the other 4 hours, by the way, that aren't on email, I'm on the phone. If you still paid for minutes on a phone, our company would have fallen apart already. We are all, I mean, we're all on the phone all the time. Granted, we're just all on the phone with different types of people. But that thought of like, okay, what is my highest and best use? What's Trevor's highest and best use? And I mean, obviously that's all scaling is figuring out what your highest and best use is and getting rid of the bottom 25%, right? Of stuff that like needs to get done. Otherwise the company falls apart, but you don't need to be doing. And I think that Gabe's role, cause he's already there where it's like, he's not doing most of the bottom 50% even. And so we can say, hey, your whole job is just to get in rooms and create valuable relationships.
Well, and you can cut things up by a level of sophistication. So one of our first coaches, when we were 3 partners for us, 2 of us were in the acquisition side, so me and Mason. And what was really clear then as we were starting to scale and we had more marketing out there is like, Mason, this is the type of seller you're really good with. You're going with the less sophisticated blue collar worker. You're going after all of those leads, single family, distress, whatever. Sophisticated sellers where they own a portfolio, that was my arena, right? And so like for you, it's all right, net worth, barely accredited 10 million, Gabe 10 to 100 million,
10 to a billion.
Yeah, because then it's just okay. So you're bringing in deals where they're bringing in 100 to a couple $100,000. He's bringing in deals where they're bringing in millions, and you have the magnet and the team that you're going to need both those types of people. Yeah. So you started to get into it, but once you start to get into an organization is now you have to understand how they communicate. It's 100% less about you, and you need to understand where do they make flaws on. So like, for example, a lot of communication stays in email because there's so much information in that email. You cannot move that to text. But I know Eric is not great with email. I know he gets bogged down in his day. So if I send him an email that I need a response on, he gets a text as well, because I know that the only way to get that at the level of attention that it deserves based on how he reacts, this is where I need to send it. Whereas it's opposite with Daniel. He's in his email a lot. I can get really good responses. And so you understand what are the best ways to communicate with the other people in your organization.
The crazy thing of when Dane and I came up with this idea of doing this, it was me and Dane sitting in a dark closet in a freaking office room, basically. And we're like, we're going to build 2 units and buy 100 units within the next 3 years, 2 years, or 1 year, or whatever it was.
And within a year.
Within a year.
We were going to build 2 units and buy 100 units
and
within a year.
We didn't hit that goal, by the way, but we surpassed the upscale of the back
goal. So the 3-year goal was build 60 units and buy 300 units. And we bought 300 units and we have built now minimum of 66. That number could be could be fluctuated.
Yeah,
in
so it's
different
crazy
ways, but
to like
certainly
look
66.
backwards and see that of like it was just me and Dane sitting there. We didn't know Mark at the time, and we were like, we don't know how we're going to do this, but let's try to do this. And then we didn't hit it actually, but we like had the vision surpass the thing because we were doing all the actions. We weren't necessarily like we don't know when this is going to happen, but
you know the analogy of get the car started, right? So you can drive the car. If you actually add context to it, you're starting the car in the dark, right? So the first thing is you got to get in, get the seatbelt on, get the engine started, you hit the gas pedal. At some point, you got to turn the fucking lights on.
Yeah.
But you got to drive down the road before you even know where the light switch is. And then you probably put on the fog lights and not the, and then you get to upgrade your car.
Dark cloud coverage, no moonlight.
And you don't even have Apple Maps going.
Yeah, exactly. Right?
you're driving the wrong way.
Yeah. But when you get a good organization, now you've got the headlights, you've got the side lights, you've got navigation.
Picked up a couple passengers.
The seats massage you.
Yeah.
Instead of heated seats, you get cooled seats.
Yeah. No, it's funny looking back because we just spent so much time like flying in circles. We were just trying to figure out where to go. Like we knew where to go, but it was like the path to get there was so just like, okay, this will help. Like it's not 100. And the more that you think and talk about it, just the more narrow all of your daily activities get. And it's still happening now. Like we're nowhere near where we need to be in terms of like time allocation and where our daily activities really like will end up being. And frankly, like we work more now than we did 2 and 3 years ago, like certainly more now than we did. And it's like the more you're trying to do, and certainly the more payroll that you get, the more you're like, well, let's get going. We gotta keep it. And I mean, that's been more exciting for me though. And like made me more motivated to follow the vision that we already had. But now that it's one, you have people under you that you need to be the one supporting them with that vision. And like, no, this is going to work. Like this is the goal. This is what we need to do over the next 3 years. What we want to do over the next 3 years. This is what we need to do over the next year. This is what we're going to do over the next 3 months. This is what our 3 months looks like.
One big mistake visionaries make, sorry, I got the hiccups there, is sharing too much vision and making too many turns and changing the vision too many times. So you got to understand like the appropriate filter that you have on your vision.
Yeah.
When it's not really clear, when it's more of an idea, you want to keep that more to yourself.
Yeah.
When it starts fleshing out into, this is the road we're going down, that's when you can start sharing things.
Yeah. No, I mean, kudos to Avery. Frankly, just as you speak to that.
Oh, yeah.
Because Avery started with us. Well, she came in like a year after we
had been doing it.
Been like Trevor and I had just been doing it. And our vision was we knew what we wanted. We knew what we wanted like way up here. And we were like, we're going to get there. We don't know how we're going to get there, but we're going to get there. And she was all on board. Like she believed that it was probably going to happen. And what she has had to do has changed drastically. Her daily goals, the things she's built out, and so much of it has been skills that apply across all the companies, and so that's been good.
Learning how to build a funnel.
Yeah, I mean that's the biggest thing is like
for marketing,
building a funnel and then running ads and like getting people to go from the.
How do you actually take this message to get this person to the end in a way and nurture them? And like it sounds simple, but it's very hard to do to get the proper leads, and then you know how to do the structure of the funnel, but then you have a different product and avatar that you're applying all these funnels to. So we have the acquisition funnel that she built for gain employees, and then for acquiring properties, and then for acquiring investors.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've kind of have her do a similar role through different pipelines.
Yeah.
So it hasn't been that chaotic for her in that aspect.
And that's not something you learn.
The vision aspect has been chaotic though.
Yeah, correct.
That's the piece where it's like, any given moment, it's like we're doing a whole different thing now.
Yeah.
Like we're starting over on a different.
I'd say yours has more been refining.
Yeah.
Well, between Vesta and Stack. So Stack has
we
been
had
refining.
an unnecessary step in there that we thought we needed that you didn't need. And like, so she was along the ride and we built this really successful thing where we were doing like 17 transactions at once at the peak. And she was really proud of what we built. And then we're like, next day we're like, hey, we're just ending that tomorrow and then moving on to this. And she was sad about it because she's like, I just spent
I said we shouldn't have, and then finally Alex Hormozy told him that he shouldn't. And
but then he said we should.
I did say we should.
That happens a lot.
But I said we should after the fact because I was emotional. And we had the thing built already, and I felt bad because here's the thing is, for that company, I was Gabe. And so I was the one who had gotten everybody excited about, or the newer people at least, excited about what we were doing and pitched them on it, because I was the one finding new brokers. And so I was the one saying, hey, this is what we're going to do. And I was like, I had to believe it because it's what we were trying to do. Yep. And so then it's all of a sudden I'm the one who, when I have to go back and be like, because I'm also the one who delivered the message of because you were like, hey, we need to stop this. Can you tell everybody?
It's a hiring and firing process.
Shot. So I'm the one who pitches the whole vision. And then I have to go back and be like, hey, it's not happening anymore.
Yeah.
We're done. And that was like an emotional toll on me. And I mean, not like it was a stress, like a source of stress for me for, a week or two. It wasn't bad, but it was just not exciting to think, like, because it almost felt like I was going back on my word.
So, to an extent you were.
Yeah. I know. Right. Yeah. And that's the part because it's like, no, I really meant when I said that we were going to do this. Mm-hmm. I did. Like, I had every intention to, but we got to rip the Band-Aid.
Dude, that was crazy to see what we built too, because we never got it to the point where we knew exactly how the leads worked. We had really good data and we had an idea. Mm-hmm. But then when we stopped it and they ran it without us, and then the lead flow just shut off, I was like, oh, that gave us really good input of how this worked.
Yeah.
And I was like, we built an insane system for that.
Because we kind of thought like maybe they were just like
referrals from our network.
Yeah.
And it was none of that.
We stopped running ads and it was just a dead, like, no more leads. Mm-hmm. And then, I mean, we were still getting leads, like,
not like
personally.
We were,
yeah.
Because like I was hopping on.
But all of it was from the previous like business that had been created.
Momentum that you already
yeah, and that's like any business, like especially brokers, like you got to spend time on that lead gen for your customer and letting them know what you're doing and why your service is different and whatever it is. And we did because we were having to go through like 5 calls a day to find a qualified person of like who fit our system that we wanted to help or whatever it was to get to where we're closing 5 to 8 a month or whatever. And then you're running to close 5 to 8 deals a month. You're running like 17 at once.
We had hundreds of leads and we probably closed.
And we could have closed them all, but it's like, then you're to the point of like, this person's not a good fit with the vision of what they want to do and fit in the program. So then you're because you only have so much time. So then you're going through there.
Yeah.
But like, that was like,
it's just not a good use of your guys' skills.
That wasn't at the time. No.
If you wanted to be real estate agents, it'd be great.
True.
Yeah. So
it wasn't that it wasn't a good use of our skills. It wasn't a good use
for what you're trying to
our
accomplish.
Goals. Yeah. Of our time.
We
thought
our
goals.
We were like, because we were trying to make money doing it, which we were, but then we were like, wait, we make more money over here doing this, and this is what we want to end up doing. So let's just figure out how to
already
turn this into the business full time. We're like, wait, if we spend 20, because Dane was really spending a good amount of time on that, and I was spending all the time on this over here. But
on the
Vesta,
verbalize that. I was spending a portion of my time on Stack and a portion of my time on Vesta.
Yeah.
I was probably like 30 hours a week on Stack and like 10 on Vesta.
And I was flipped.
And you were probably flipped at the time. And we just really both needed to be 40 on, and now it's like 40 to
but that you're making a decision of the system you created was good for creating now money, whereas if you're investing all your time and energy into Stack, well, you're not getting paid unless you like that's an eat what you kill environment.
Yeah.
And both of them are eat what you kill environments, but one of them is
fishing
faster,
and one is hunting elephants.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep. Are you trying to get something that you can eat on for a long period of time, or are you trying to get a bunch of different meals?
Yeah.
And they lead into each other to an extent. Like if you can have a bunch of small meals before you have it, like if you can do both, that's great. And I think a lot of people think you can do both, and you guys realize quickly you can't.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, not at maybe if you got a huge organization, but then
the
it's like, what's the
become
point?
fewer.
Well, it's just kind of what was the point of this? Because it was to make us now money to buy more deals, and we're like, wait, we just make now money here at a higher rate, quicker. Like, and our brain was just broken.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But anyways, that's how we're scaling the businesses, guys. I think we're good.
Hopefully
you guys feel good about it?
Value in that.
Yeah.
I got value out of it.
I mean, I think it applies to every business. I don't think it's specific to real estate.
No.
Yeah.
You have a product that you sell to someone, so you got to figure out what that product is and who you sell it to and how you get in touch with them.
Know your audience.
All right. Thanks for listening, guys. We will see you next time. If you like the podcast, share it with one person. Just one. That's all we ask. Thanks for listening.